We have one final series of Super Saturday, and it's one with potential playoff implications on the line here. I do think we have to, once again, verify a couple of tiebreakers, so we'll get more word on that. But for now, whoever wins between Amnesiac and Monsanto will better position themselves. Monsanto can actually just lock things out completely with a win here, I believe.
Yes, Amnesiac can only finish at 7 wins. He's already played one series this week. He lost. This is his last match of Season 2. So if he loses, he can no longer catch Monsanto at 8. With the win here, he ties Monsanto. Monsanto still has one more match left to play this week. But if he loses that, Amnesiac would get the 7 points and pass him in tiebreaker 2. As you can see there, Amnesiac would end 7-7. Monsanto would go to 7-6. If he loses the next one, he'd also be at 7-7. And their head-to-head, let me double-check their head-to-head real quick.
The light shall bring victory.
Amnesiac lost to Monsanto, so it would go to that tiebreaker 2, which would come down to some math at the end of tomorrow, which we'll dive into once we get to that point. But long story short, Amnesiac needs to win here to keep his playoffs hopes alive.
I believe he actually would beat Monsanto for the playoff spot.
Yeah,
because Monsanto would basically keep his tiebreaker score, and Amnesiac only improves his. And Amnesiac's at a 33, and Monsanto's at a 36.
They do have unique wins where they've beaten a lot of different players. Like, for example, Monsanto has a 2-0 versus Race. So if Race goes 2-0 this week, he gains 4 points just from that, whereas Amnesiac has not beaten him. So it's like, if he gains,
okay.
Yeah. So,
but if he beats Monsanto, then he gets the +7 there.
Yes. But Monsanto currently right now, we had the same from the beginning of the day, which has him at 36 points in tiebreaker 2. That's gone up since Race took a victory today, so he'd be at 38 from that one. And Bloodyface took a victory today, so he'd be at 39.
Got it.
So it's going to be close. It's going to come down to it.
You're right. You're right. Forgetting about the opponents.
Opponents. It's very complicated. I heard the argument earlier that this is what chess uses, but 3D chess is different, Dan.
3D wizard poker chess.
Yes.
Not the same. Amnesiac starting off with the Town Crier, getting onto the board. Looks a little tired. Maybe out partying a little too much during rush week. Maybe too many late conversations with a budding romance.
Maybe too much Hearthstone practice.
Or maybe what my friends used to do in college, which was to take a stereo boombox and play really loud music at 3 a.m. while filming the other person with night mode camcorder and just watch the other person scream. And we'd play it during our group presentation meetings. If you were late for a meeting, that was your punishment. But you just didn't know when, which night they'd come.
That's oddly specific. Something that you can never make up, so I 100% believe you and 100% believe that.
Yeah.
That seems like a traumatizing experience.
It's called Wake Up UCSD. And it was, so if you like showed up late, obviously you'd be like, oh, I'm really sorry, I'm being late. I'm like, it's okay, it's cool. And then, but the crew would come out late at night and blast music. It was just like, really loud rap music or something, and then you'd just be like, really freaked out. Anyways, less about my antics a decade plus ago. Back into this game. A pass from Amnesiac. No Town Crier number 2. What do you think about that? Just building the armor for shield?
Building the armor for shield slam, yeah. If he plays Town Crier, he doesn't armor up. Next turn, his armor for shield slam is limited to 2, whereas now he can have 4.
Quickly.
Which allows him to answer an injured Tolvir should it come out without a circle of healing. Or allows him to answer injured Tolvir plus power shield.
Or specifically, I think Northshire Cleric and power shield.
Yeah,
I think he needs to kill.
Or Northshire Cleric being the sidekick. Or injured Tolvir coin power word shield.
Yeah. That's like a really small, subtle play, but I think something that may pay off huge dividends.
But maybe Monsanto had the next level read. And by not playing Circle of Healing says, if you armor up Shield Slam this and trade in your 1-2, I get to play Injured Blade Master Circle of Healing and your Restless Mummy no longer kills it. Whoa.
Is there a way for him to beat both? So if he Town Criers and armors up,
I wonder.
he's going to have 4 armor. That goes down to 2. He plays Restless Mummy. That doesn't trade anything. I think he's got Shield Slam.
Yeah, especially if Injured Blade Master's Circle of Healing comes out, because then the Injured Topher goes up to 9. Or sorry, 8.
Yeah, the good news is that with the coin, he can't immediately punish with the Psycho Pump. Shield block number 2. Seems like Amnesiac's gonna have to play a minion here. Town Crier. I was thinking about playing Restless Mummy and just not attacking it. But I guess that makes it really weak to a Wild Pyromancer.
What now?
Or just health buffs, right? Because you're not... If a Divine Spirit comes out and you didn't attack, then that Restless Mummy isn't doing anything.
So the idea is to play Restless Mummy, attack it twice, hope for no Ritualist.
That's a tough thing to do. He may try and search for Brawl, use Town Cry, and then Shield Block afterwards. That's not anything guaranteed either, though. So, taking a look at Amnesiac's deck list, he does have the Whirlwind Double Plague of Wrath, the Double Brawl, the Spellbreaker.
No tune can hold me.
He's got a warrior deck that's pretty well built for battling priests.
Yeah, and I think this Mummy makes sense too, given that it's just the information that was given to Monsanto. He already knows about this.
Yeah.
14 damage though, so hard to deal with.
Oof.
Amnesiac tried to load up this Mummy ahead of time. That was part of the challenge of not attacking into the Injured Blade Master. Play around the Ritualist, get punished by Divine Spirit Inner Fire. Play around that, get punished by the Ritualist.
Yeah. So maybe you are supposed to dig. I don't know.
I wonder.
Because Town Crier Shield Block does pull 2 cards out of your deck, and you still have like a Plague of Wrath out unless he trades, like does a play and trades. I guess that play may get punished by Never Set Ritualist anyway, but that's much less power on the board that you're having to deal with. Sometimes you do have to account for worst case scenario.
What now?
Because even with the second Restless Mummy pull here, he only has 12 damage on board. Only 12.
Mega Devastator just trying to load up as much power onto the board. No attack onto the face. Light Warden pickup. This is actually very tense.
Yeah. Monsanto had a Divine Spirit for lethal there, with second Inner Fire in hand.
I must consider.
And also, you saw Town Crier, and it's a 50% chance to pull Restless Mummy or Ziliax. If you leave this Omega Devastator on board, you risk the Ziliax coming out and healing up some of the damage that you've been able to deal, and also putting that taunt in the way. Monsanto only runs 1 copy of Silence, so it'd be pretty tough to get through from that point.
This is tough position too, because he knows about the second Restless Mummy now. So his only way to fight back against it would be to reduce the attack on the board.
In the light's name.
So with this Inner Fire, Amnesiac would have to throw all of his damage into the Injured Blade Master.
Right.
which would open up some lethal possibilities for Monsanto with heals.
Ah, well, he's accounting for the possibility of maybe Ziliax got drawn instead of Restless Mummy.
Yes.
I wonder.
Which would leave exactly... It would mean he would have to trade... If it was Restless Mummy, he'd have to trade everything in on board, because that'd be exactly 14. If it was Ziliax, this would be 7 plus 3. He wouldn't be able to kill it, so he'd have to kill something else. So if it was Ziliax, this gives Monsanto the ability to draw sounds for lethal. If it's Restless...
Wait, Warpath, though. Warpath, Restless Mummy.
Does that clear everything?
Yes.
Oh, it does, exactly. Wow.
Monsanto was like really surprised at first, but when he sees the second Restless Mummy, it's all going to make sense. Amnesiac finds the clear. Big moment in this matchup for Amnesiac.
No tomb can hold me.
I do like the setup for Monsanto, though, because it played around
wait.
everything.
Hold on, TJ. We're not out of the woods
Okay.
just yet. Okay.
Okay.
Not the injured Blade Master. It was looking bad, but it had to have been either the 2-6 or the 4-7 that came back.
Do you like to play with fire?
Amnesiac finds the snip snap.
Can't snip snap Ziliax for the additional gain, so you can Ziliax plus armor up.
With
Both interfire's gone.
both interfires gone, which means that, oh, a shield slam.
Ooh.
What's he gonna hit? He finds Tomb Warden. Just reducing the pure amount of power on board.
Yep.
Light Warden, just more 1-drops. That makes the effectiveness of Bonsomdi even lower, should he even pick it up. At this point, Northshire Cleric's Monsanto's best hope. But even then, perhaps his hopes are slowly fading. Because Tomb Warden is a mech, also can get magnetized by Ziliax and Snip Snap. So Amnesiac's got layers of defense coming. Monsanto has to load up the best board possible. And if he's going to assume that a Tomb Warden's coming, since Amnesiac's been holding a card to the far left for a while,
In the light's name.
what's the best way to fight against it?
I got you, friend.
I think the highest health thing to try and topsy it next turn, like silence, heal, trade in your minions, topsy, and then he'd push 8.
Does he heal his opponent just to get a little bit extra attack on the Light Warden?
It's whether or not he assumes the Light Warden's going to die next turn. Which at this point, I think if your Light Warden dies through these taunts, I guess he's just trying to hedge against it in case it does die and he draws Bonsomdi.
7 power on the board. Injured Blade Master. Injured Blade Master coming down will still add some pretty decent stats. Silence could also help push through this, get some face damage, but the Silence would be so much better served to retroactively take out whatever Ziliax magnetizes onto. And with this Silence being used, I think that'll be the lock.
Yeah. I think Monsanto realizes that if Ziliax is there, or if any meaningful magnetize is there,
Yeah,
he loses anyway.
Yep.
So he just has to kind of push and hope. And this is a kind of a big trade as well. You could trade in Beaming Sidekick and Asia Tolvier. Either way, he pushes 3 damage.
I think his Light Warden needs to get bigger and
Yep.
stronger, because he knows that there is still magnetic abilities like Snip Snap, right?
Yeah. And if Ziliax does come down, Light Warden grows.
Another Tomb Warden. That might be better.
It probably is better. No silence left. Monsanto only runs 1 copy.
Because his ideal turn is actually 10 mana. Snip, Snap, Ziliak's Weapons Project to kill everything.
Yeah.
If he had 10 mana, he could Snip, Snap the 3/6, trade in, Weapons Project the 2/1, Ziliak's the 3/2.
Yeah.
Unity. Precision.
Well,
Going big.
With Silence gone, this play is also pretty safe.
Very safe.
That's an 8/11.
I've got more left in me.
Ritualist?
I mean, he can get through.
Yeah, you can get through now. I mean, he does heal Amnesiac for another 8.
But he sticks 2 minions on board because of how cleanly he gets through this.
Again, not over by any means.
Monsanto just scraping by, though. I mean, he's relying entirely on the top of his deck.
So Harrison Jones comes in. Amnesiac can get a burst of life and draw 3 cards, which could help him lock out this game.
So he's got to think, is there any way that he dies from 26?
It's unlikely, given that Monsanto's on 1 card.
So it'd have to be Power Word Shield into, or Divine Spirit into Topsy.
Nah, he doesn't have. He only has 1 card.
He only has 1 card, so it'd be over 2 turns. So he'd be able to react to whatever comes out. So
and this is also gains life.
yeah,
This has to be the play.
That belongs in a museum.
Monsanto unhappy to see that. Plague of Wrath and Brawl. Make that 2. The Dream?
The Dream. The Dream.
Power Shield is 9, 9 plus 3 is, or 4 is 13. Not even close.
So I think in that situation, the ideal draw is probably Circle of Healing. So that way you can triple trade Circle of Healing.
Ah. I mean, he got close.
So he can hit the Harrison Jones, Topsy his injured Blade Master, which is it's no longer damaged.
I must consider.
Trade into the 2/1s and heal up the injured Tolvir to keep it healthy. That plays around Plague of Wrath specifically. But that's his last flip effect. So he's basically all in on that injured Blade Master, which wouldn't even be that big.
Right. I mean, even if he was able to double and make it 18 damage, he still wouldn't actually kill Amnesiac. Amnesiac's at 26 and he's at 22.
Be 4 off.
I think Amnesiac can hide behind these Tomb Wardens now.
Yeah. I mean, he also has a guaranteed clear. He could Brawl, attack whatever's left, and Plague of Wrath.
That's true.
It's a 10-mana play, but it would clear everything off the board.
Another Tomb Warden.
Yeah, but he could definitely hide behind 2 Wardens for a very long time.
There it is. Finally, the Northshire Clerics will come to the hand. One more sidekick as well.
With so many cards drawn from Amnesiac, though, and no real big removals used yet, no Brawls, no Plague of Rats, even if Monsanto like picks up Ahmet off the top here, goes Ahmet, Psychopomp, and 1-drops onto the board.
Is someone injured?
Brawl should be able to take care of it.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if he wants to circle.
He could trade first and then circle for 2 cards.
Quickly.
He knows Plague of Wrath is likely to be drawn at this point.
Yeah.
And with this, Yes, Amnesiac should be able to dissect everything. Can just very safely clear the board here. Depends on how he wants to do it.
Just do Plague of Wrath.
Yeah, in fact, he actually has a way to do it pretty neat, where he can attack the 5/4 into Monsanto. He can hit the 4/9 with his own weapon, and then Plague of Wrath, then trade into the 1/3.
Leave a Tomb Warden.
Leave the Tomb Warden on board.
Yeah. He even gets to follow that up with like Armor Up and Vicious Scrap Hound.
Yeah.
What now?
That seems like the cleanest way because you could Brawl Plague of Wrath, but at this point you saw card draw. I think you need like answers to multiple waves. And if you can get away with just using a Plague of Wrath here without an activator, with no activator in hand, that seems pretty good. He could also just hide behind Tomb Wardens again.
Yeah, it's a little scary because of the threat of Monsanto up there, but it should be fine. Does end up taking it out. 3 taunts to get past. No Master Spell in the deck.
Once upon a time.
Once upon a time. Master Spell would be the victory here. Well, he didn't actually have a Divine Spirit,
No.
so he'd be a little off right now.
He could like Wild Pyromancer, Master Spell, and then Northside Cleric to heal to find it. Nah, he wouldn't have enough mana at that point.
Yep, finding a hard time for Monsanto to dig himself out of here.
Yeah, we're talking... When we start talking about theoretical solutions that involve cards that don't even exist in Monsanto's deck, that's how you know it's a bad time.
Consider.
This is probably a load up the board and hope Amnesiac has both Brawls and both Plague of Wraths in the bottom 8 cards of his deck.
I've got more left in me.
No, he refuses.
Injured?
Refuses to give in that easy.
Ah, there's a Ritualist.
Cards.
Two Brawls.
And the fact that Amnesiac's gotten to this point in the game without using a single Brawl or Plague of Wrath is pretty impressive.
What now?
And it looks like he's trying to find a creative solution to not have to use those again.
Well, he can use Plague of Wrath.
What now?
Okay, so if he triple trades into the 4/8 and then bumps and uses his weapon, he can actually still Plague of Wrath and get out of this, or he could just Brawl.
He could also Spark Drill.
Spark Drill is interesting because you should be able to still clear off the most of these.
Yeah.
Scrap Hound, get that extra armor. Pyromancer has 4 spells.
Wait,
3 spells.
What's the last card?
Psychopomp.
That was another spell.
If that was another spell, I think there might have been a way.
Yeah. He could have Wild Pyroed.
Spell.
The problem is keeping the Wild Pyromancer alive.
Beaming
Because yeah, Beaming Sidekick, but you need the Beaming Sidekick for the additional health to Topsy onto the injured Blade Master. I know he has Divine
No,
Spirit.
you can Divine Spirit first.
So you'd Wild Pyromancer, Beaming Sidekick, Divine Spirit, More Arms, Topsy Turvy. There's a 3/1 in the way. Anna's he's used extra arms, so there's only 3 spells.
Yeah.
So there'd be a 3/1 and a 3/2 in the way.
Very close. Still, despite that. I can't believe Priest even brought it this far. I wonder if Monsanto could just go for like the High Priest of Met, Psycho Pop. Hope that he wins the brawl.
I see a dark future. The end begins. You're fighting.
Whoa! Whoa! Big stats. The sparks are insane right now?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Plague of Wrath here is ridiculous.
Yeah. It was a very smart setup from Amnesiac. Not using the Brawls or Plague of Wraths because
What now?
those are really the only chance he has of it backfiring, like losing the Brawl.
Well, the brawl, if the Almet won, Amnesiac would actually still potentially lose.
At the very least. Oh, yeah, because the Monsanto would come back at
whatever X. Yeah, this was actually still a pan out that almost made Monsanto win.
Yeah.
I am like so impressed with that Monsanto took it this far, given that it felt like Amnesiac was in full control for so long.
Yeah.
Another scrap pound.
Yeah. And that should be the concede for Monsanto. A very well-fought game, though, I do have to say, from both sides. Amnesiac, you know, having to think about the very fringe case scenarios where he loses, which I guess Brawl gave him those fringe outs if something big survives from Monsanto. Getting the sparks to guarantee, even if he doesn't draw Whirlwind or Plague of Wrath, that he has a way to activate Plague of Wrath on the following turn. Kind of accounting for everything Monsanto can do. But it still ends up being quite close at the end. A very cool matchup. That was neat. Neat to watch.
And it's like there even could have been further optimization if he had like the foresight of how that panned out at the very end, because you could like kind of go through some extra spells and whatnot. But I gotta say, really well done by both players. Great reads and great plays. Going to game number 2, we're gonna take a break, our final break of Super Saturday. And when we come back, we're gonna have the conclusion of Amnesiac versus Monsanto.
Hello and welcome to Around the Fern. I'm Nathan Zamora. That's Admirable, you can call me, and I'm joined today by a very special player. Please state your name.
Christos Tsakopoulos.
I thought it was Pheno. Like I've always called you Pheno at tournament.
Well, yeah, people call me Pheno, Pheno, Phenomeno, whatever you want to
Okay,
go with.
well, you gotta. I think you need to pick one of them though. It's not just Phenomeno
Let's
or Pheno.
go with Pheno. Let's go with Pheno.
Pheno.
Yeah.
Okay. You're happy with that?
Mm-hmm. I think it will be easier for you.
So where are you living right now, and what's that like? What's that like for you in Hearthstone?
Yeah, now I'm just living in Greece with my parents. We have a really big apartment, and on the first floor, there's like a movie theater that my dad
Like a
operates.
movie? Like you guys make movies there?
No, there's no movie making in the movie theaters. You just show the movie.
So like you just show them other
yes,
people?
people come and they can watch the movie in the movie theater.
But you don't make them.
No, we don't make them. We get the movie and we show the movie in the theater.
I thought the whole point of the movie.
Just sell tickets, we don't make movies, and people come and watch the movie.
Okay. Well, I get. Let's just agree to disagree on that. Phenomeno, Pheno, whatever you want to call it.
I'm done.
But we're in an interview.
I'm Will Barton. I'm also Amnesiac, the young savage. I was Amnesia SC for like 3 years. But since I didn't have a microphone when I started playing Hearthstone, everyone was just like, oh, it's Amnesiac. And I was like, no, but there was no mic. So I was just like, yes, okay. So I think my experience for Grandmasters was different from a lot of people, because in my mind, there was just never any way I wasn't gonna be in the league. I've been top 5 in points in North America for like 4 years now or something, 3 or 4 years. I have a big presence online. I think people get excited when I come onto streams and watch them. I'm somebody people can kind of get behind. So in my mind, when they announced Grandmasters, I was like, all right, let's do it. In terms of Hearthstone, I still really think that I have what it takes to be one of, if not the best players in the world. And I really intend to put in more work than I did last year and be more disciplined. I think I got a lot better at using my time over the past year, and I want to apply that skill and show people just how good I can be.
Darker than they've ever been. As evil descends from the skies, the world cries out, how will we survive? Out of the hall of explorers, and up from the dusty tombs, they grab their whips and fedoras. These legends of the past know exactly what to do. There might be magic monsters, mummies in the markets, and ancient mysticism. But this league's gonna save the world.
Amnesiac currently up 1-0 in what could potentially be our last game of the day, going into match number 2. The final game of today, and then we'll roll into Sunday with Muzzy, Gallon, Strifeco, Firebat, Ray, Soleil, Nalgadon, Eddie, Monsanto, and Just Saying. After that, we're done with Season 2, TJ. We'll go into the playoffs. We may even do the Hearthies again. We'll see. And we'll get ready for the global finals at BlizzCon 2019. And after that, TJ, the competitive year for Grandmasters is done, but not before we make a stop in Bucharest.
Yes.
And I gotta say that it's kind of been a whirlwind. 2019 started off really slow for me personally. I was very like, all right, here we go again. You know.
Oh, we also had like the World Championship for ACT to cap that off. The Winter Championship and Winter Playoffs. So it feels like we haven't stopped. And then, of course, the Hearthstone Global Games just announced as well, which is going to cap off at the end of the year. So 2019 was packed.
Yeah, I was like, when I said here we go again, it was more like what's the competitive year going to look like? Are we going to do playoffs where we wake up at 11 p.m. call times for Europe playoffs and
I don't know
whatnot?
if I missed that. I don't know if I missed that.
I do not. Grandmasters came back in full force. And you know what? If anything, it's like getting back in touch with my roots. Studio broadcast that lasts however long with Warrior Mirrors back and forth. Just reminded me of the good old days, TJ, of the legendary series when I cast with you.
Yep. Those are 12-hour days with no breaks, effectively. All right, Dan, we got something exciting in front of us.
Yes.
An aggro shaman.
Aggro Overload Shaman, a deck that we haven't really seen much of at all in America. We saw a little bit in other regions. But controversial, to say the least, to bring something like this in the last week. And Monsanto putting his faith in the Thunderhead. Which I gotta say, great card. Just doesn't seem like it's as good as Quest Shaman at what it wants to do consistently.
Yeah, consistency I think is the key, but I mean, that's a good hand.
Yeah.
That is a very good hand.
Lightning Shaman. Can we just call it that?
I mean, that's effectively what it is. Voltaic Burst, Lightning Bolt, Zap, Stormbringer.
That just sounds cool. That makes me want to boot up WoW and just play. just build a Lightning Shaman.
Boot up the Classic WoW. Play an Elemental Shaman. Play on my server. I'll come gank you since I'm Alliance.
You're an Alliance?
Yeah. Haven't always been. I'm a flip-flopper. Yeah.
Hey, I got you,
Just
friend.
one day woke up, felt like I wanted to be a dwarf.
I mean, that makes sense. You're a switch hitter, right?
Yeah, I am. Or I was. I don't play baseball anymore. Extra arms on a beaming sidekick.
Yeah.
Get him. Psychopomp rolling into an injured Tolvir.
Or so he thinks until
Or
the Thunderhead
so
zap.
he thinks.
Amazing amount of tempo.
Yep.
being generated here. But he does overload for the following turn.
He does, but he has Voltaic Burst into Mogu Flesh Shaper, which is 4 minions generated onto the board, which automatically reduces Mogu Flesh Shaper's cost to, with the Thunderhead on the board, 2. So he has 4 Rushers, the 3 damage from Thunderhead, and Mogu Flesh Shaper, and Sea Giant. Oh, but he's gonna silence it.
Ah, he was so ready for the pop-off.
This
Wait.
is still a pop-off.
He was so ready for the pop-up. Monsanto was just, I've never seen him more upset than when his Thunderhead got silenced.
Wait a
'cause he was
second.
ready.
He could go Voltaic Burst, Mogu Flesh Shaper, Sea Giant.
Does he have board space for that?
Yes, because that would be 6 minions with the double Voltaic Burst plus Mogu Flesh Shaper. Sea Giant would then cost 2, and he would have plenty of mana remaining.
He's effectively all in at that point.
Yeah, but it is a board clear. And it doesn't matter if you're all in if you have a Sea Giant on board.
Oh, he clears the board.
Clears the board.
Right.
Mortals are set.
Amnesia.
Oh, because he overloaded his exact mana.
Yeah.
He clears the board and has 2 1/1s left and a Sea Giant. But Dan, he is overloaded.
He is.
Play the former champ next turn.
Another Psychopop.
That is despite
The end.
getting his Thunderhead silenced.
Hey, I got you, friend.
Yeah, that'll do it.
And now we draw random cards from our collection.
Yep. Oh.
Wow. The Shaman deck making quick work.
Yeah.
Monsanto being very careful as to how he wants to go about this.
Yep. I think number 1, don't get blown out by Wild
I
Pyromancer.
wonder.
Yeah, I'd probably want to cash in on these 1/1s.
Yeah, and probably wants to keep the Thunderhead high health. So like Sea Giant into the 3/3, Thunderhead into the 1/2, and then one of the Sparks goes into the Reborn. Then you have a 3/4 at the end of the turn, a 3/3, or sorry, 3/2, and the Sea Giant's still healthy. There's also, you know, what does it look like if I push 8 damage with the Sea Giant, but I think this matchup's more about just waiting for that Bloodlust and controlling the board until then.
Interesting.
I got you, friend.
Wild Pyromancer. Wild Pyromancer and 2 spells. But if you double Divine Spirit, it goes from 2 to 4, and then it goes to 6. Whoa, good thing you did that. Otherwise, he would have been dead.
Yep. I think he's still quite dead.
Float like a butterfly.
Sting like a bee.
Ooh.
Oh,
You saw 2 Divine Spirits.
yeah, but I think you just want to keep this board. If nothing gets removed,
Yeah,
then
that's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
You have been.
Aggro Overload Shaman getting over the Priest Hub.
Even with the Thunderhead Silence. Now imagine what that world looks like without the Thunderhead Silence. That's just absurd. I mean, he had pretty much the ideal turn. Maybe it doesn't even change much. He still ends the turn with the same amount of stuff he started with, maybe like 1 extra 1/1. But that's powerful. That seemed cool.
Yeah, and I mean, probably in Amnesiac's mind, he thought, oh yeah, Shaman versus Priest, that shouldn't be too bad.
Ah, it's a good matchup.
And now we enter a situation where Monsanto, well, he has his priest or his warrior up, and Amnesiac has his priest or his shaman up. His priest would like to match up against the priest or the warrior, but his shaman has warrior or priest. In both of those situations, Amnesiac has a really good matchup and a really bad matchup, or a 50-50.
Yeah.
So, like, in the priest, it's like neutral at best.
Yeah.
And the shaman, it's like, well, it's bad versus priest and great versus warrior. This is a mind game, TJ. Where would you go with?
And it's the same with Monsanto. If he queues warrior, then he goes up against a shaman matchup, which is very difficult. And then Amnesiac's shown to be great in that matchup. And if he goes priest, it's got to be priest, right? Because priest has a good matchup and an even.
And Amnesiac does have the Plague of Murlocs, so I think he's probably going to queue the shaman. And that his shaman will like give him a chance to Plague of Murlocs the priest, and if he has upside of beating the warrior.
Yeah.
That'll be his hope.
That's his hope.
And I think if I'm Monsanto, I queue the priest, because at worst I get the mirror.
At worst, you get the mirror. Yep.
It's going to be priest versus shaman. And the potential lockout of the final playoff spot could be upon us here. Whoever wins this game puts themselves in contention for the playoffs definitively. Either Amnesiac is going to be still in the conversation or he's out.
Yeah, pretty big deal. There's the current updated standings. You can see if Amnesiac loses, it goes to 6-8. He can no longer catch anybody from the playoff cutoff. So let's get into it. Monsanto starting off with his selection of 1-drops. But the Plague of Murlocs.
Right off the bat.
Yep.
I think of Monsanto, I definitely tossed the Inner Fire. 2 Light Warrens does seem a little excessive, given that they don't really fight very well against the Shaman minions except for 1/1s. If you like start off with Light Warden on 1, Questing Explorer does make it like pretty problematic, so probably toss the other 2. Oh my goodness. Wow. Is there just an injured Tolvir and a Circle of Healing away from greatness?
Yep. Dan.
Oh, wow.
The next card is Circle of Healing. Something fishy's going on here, Dan. You've been calling.
Let's talk about the Murlocs.
You've been getting a little too many things right today with draws off the top.
You too.
I must consider.
I guess I have.
Move quickly.
Maybe we have more power than we initially realized.
Is someone injured?
Amnesiac
In the light's name.
laughing.
He's delirious, Dan.
He's delirious because he
course
feels
it's
like
the right way.
Monsanto has had the perfect cards in the perfect hand.
What Circle of Healing? Oh, God.
My gosh.
Oh, my God.
It's actually disgusting.
That is
Thing is,
incredibly disgusting.
Monsanto might actually hold. He can legitimately just play Injured Tolvir and not do anything. Or
I wonder.
he can heal now, grab the card, and the Injured Blade Master Circle of Healing. That being said, I gotta say, Amnesiac getting the 1 of Plague of Murlocs on curve against a deck that's trying to play on curve and low overload stats is also a really good thing.
I've got more left in me.
3 cards is hard to turn down. Jeez.
I mean, I just wonder if Amnesiac has to pull the trigger on Plague of Murlocs now.
I think he does.
But then that like opens it up for Monsanto to just kind of go in. Yep. Okay.
Well, he wins the Murloc battle.
All right.
These are some not good stuff.
And Amnesiac's got Mogu Flesh Shaper in hand.
If he finds a mutate,
yeah, then he's just right in it. And despite nearly the ideal start for Monsanto, would give himself a chance in this game. Keep in mind that Amnesiac will have to think about completing the quest, and right now his hand just doesn't do much of that. He's got 2 life drinkers, which are very expensive, very hard to play. And then he has the Mogul Flesh Shaper. And I like the trade-offs for Monsanto to limit the impact. Mogul Flesh Shaper costs 5, so he can't go for that blowout turn. But Sludge Slurper is a step in the right direction. Goblin Lackey lets him deal with Injured Blade Master. Kobold
I hope you like
doesn't
my
line up
invention.
too well against this board. Amnesiac has 1 mind control tech in the deck.
Yep. And with 2 Murlocs dead in the pool, Psychopom's not going to do anything right now. But that's not even the big concern here. I think the big concern is Monsanto has injured Tolvir and Neferset Ritualist.
Yeah. It would be 1 turn of playing around mind control tech since he can't trade anything in. But that's a big board.
That is a big board.
I must consider.
And it's a lot of stats, and I think if you're in Monsanto's camp, it's a little bit hard to turn down big tempo like that, because otherwise you're not going to develop much. The other alternative is to just Neferset Ritualist this turn and just control the state of the board. That's okay too. Just bump, Neferset Ritualist.
And heal.
I've got more left in me. Use it now.
He was hoping for the Evolve.
Or the mind control tech.
Or the mind control tech, yeah. It's not determined yet. Evil Cable Rack can still get an Ethereal Lackey of some sort. Oh?
Ooh. Little bit off. He can kill the injured Tolvir with the Mogul Flesh Shaper, but that kind of strands the Witchy Lackey in hand. But if you're not making an impact on this board...
What's an 8-drop that can actually just pull Amnesiac out of situation right now? Imagine people just start doing that and just get Ragnaros.
I know.
Just starts dominating the board. And you're like, oh, crap. I forgot about this.
6 plus 8. 14 damage, dealt with Monsanto. Extra arms goes up to 10, so 16. Plague of Murloc's gone. I think you can kind of feel free here to
I must
not take the risk of playing into mind control tech.
It's just extra arm stack.
Extra arms plus maybe even throwing in inner fire.
Well, the thing about the extra arms, and yeah, actually, it makes it that the Mogul Flesh Shaper can't really do anything by itself.
Yeah. There's no Earthshock in the deck from Amnesiac. There's a couple lackeys that you need to worry about, but feels like Amnesiac would have fished for a spell last turn instead of killing off the Murloc.
Unless you wanted to double fish for spells.
Oh
hero
yeah.
power.
No, that's true.
So he has 6 mana, so you can hero power.
So maybe you don't want to all in on 1 minion, so you could...
Yeah, he also didn't mind control tech.
Oh yeah, he did mind control tech last time when he had the opportunity to, so you have to read that that's not there.
Big damage coming out.
And he's going to spread the extra arms onto the Neferset Ritualist to reduce the possible impact of mind control tech off the top, or off like Earthshock from a double Ethereal Lackey. All right, so this, he's got to rely on Mogul Flesh Shaper getting something big from Witchy Lackey. And even then, We can see that even like a Tyrion wouldn't do it. Well, could Hero Power get a 9-drop? Is there any 9-drops?
King Crush. Nope.
Oh no, King Crush. Because he could also double Sandstorm Elemental. He could Titanic Lackey. And then it would live and be taunt, or he could Sandstorm Elemental. What about Sandstorm Elemental, and then you trade all the 3/3s into the... Oh no, you know More Arms is there.
I think it would have to actually be like Restless Mummy type situation.
Yeah, I just don't know if there's a 9-drop that saves him. He doesn't know the silence is there. He knows the More Arms is there.
Oh, the silence is just the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
This is actually a decent amount of stats on the board, right?
Yep.
And with this, Monsanto is moments away from locking in the 4th and final playoff spot away from Amnesiac. And a valiant effort indeed, but the aggro Shaman Tech coming in big. It's gonna wrap it up. And that is it. Division B's top 4 has been settled, with Monsanto improving to an 8-5 record at the very least. Well done.
Yeah. 2 seasons in a row of qualifying for playoffs for Monsanto. 2 seasons in a row of missing playoffs for Amnesiac.
Just barely.
Just barely, yeah. Last season it was too. It came down to the last week as well, despite what ended up being a pretty rough season. And this season, honestly, pretty rough for Amnesiac. He ended up winning 5 in a row and then losing 4 in a row. He went from 1-4 to 6-4, and then from 6-4 to 6-8. So it's like
very streaky.
Yeah, very streaky. You know, kind of 3 different sections of a season for Amnesiac, all that told a different story. So
it's a nice parabola, if you will. Let's go ahead and check in with Monsanto, who has locked in his playoff spot. Monsanto, can you hear us?
Yeah. Hey guys.
What's up, Jerome? Is that how you say your name?
Almost. Yeah. Well, feels good, man. I'm in playoffs.
Well said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aggro Overload Shaman. Why?
I don't know. I tested it a bit. Well, first of all, both Amnesiac and I'm playing Amnesiac and Just Saying, and together in the last like 4 weeks, they brought 1 warrior to the Grandmasters. So I thought they were both unlikely. Like I know Just Saying hates warrior, and I knew Amnesiac like was likely to bring the same lineup he brought the last 3 weeks. So I thought maybe I could just not care too much about warrior, and then that deck gets so much better because it's fine against priest, it's fine against shaman. It's actually not that bad in other matchups. Amnesiac ended up bringing warriors, so I was at a disadvantage because of that deck, but it ended up it ended up being okay. I beat the priest.
Yeah, no, definitely. It seemed like a really nice series back and forth, but you know, out of curiosity, who taught you, or not? Whose idea was it to give you this aggro shaman deck? Was it yours? Was it someone else that you're practicing with?
I mean, it's Jumbray's deck. He gets the credit. I didn't talk to him before I decided that I was probably going to bring it. I knew that deck existed. I tested it, and it was good. I knew it was good in some matchups. I knew if my opponents weren't bringing warrior, that was the best time to bring it. but my opponents brought warrior.
Got it. So this is your 2nd season making playoffs in a row. You know, what do you think is like the key behind your consistency? Purple was talking about his good fundamentals. Do you feel like that's the same reason that you're able to get through, that you feel like your playing skill has given you the edge over the field?
Yeah. I mean, this season, I don't think I felt like I was unfavored in many of these matches. There's 1 or 2 weeks that I out-prepped my opponents, but other than that, I felt like I always had to win unfavorables, and I was able to do so like quite often. So my play's been good, except for like a few matches where my play's been completely awful. But
we won't talk about Quest Warlock. That
yeah,
those days are behind us, Monsanto.
Yeah, that never happened. But yeah, when you play completely awful during like one match and you lose, it's still only one match loss. Like no matter how bad you played, so that's good.
Shoot,
That
yeah.
helps me.
You don't get double losses by by like
The committee, like
The committee?
like, you deserve 2 losses.
Monsanto lost that match, but he played so poorly. We're gonna award him 2 losses.
Yeah, thankfully not. Monsanto, we've been having people, at the end of each day who has the final say to do the speech, right? And
Monsanto's done it a lot.
He's done it a lot. He's actually pretty up there. You and Frozen are the top 2 ending the day in interviews all the time. So
Yeah,
once again, Monsanto.
I do it all the time, but it's always super disappointing.
Are you ready today?
Did you prepare?
It's today the day.
You knew you were playing last.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I mean, I knew I was playing last, but I didn't prepare anything.
Okay.
All right. Well, with that said,
Want me to prepare something for tomorrow?
Do you play last tomorrow?
yes, he plays against Sand tomorrow.
Yeah, I play last all the time.
Okay.
Well, that being said, you have the floor. What would you like to say?
Bye.
See you, Monsanto.
All right, later.
Prepare something.
They're
for
not
tomorrow.
switching away.
They're not switching away.
All right. Well, 2 can play at this game.